Good morning.
I'd like to call the meeting of the Rhode Island Turnpike Bridge Authority to order. First item is public comment. Do we have any? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to the next order. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 23rd, 2025 meeting? Motion by Karen, seconded by Peter. Discussion, having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is production copier lease.
That's me. Good
That's
morning,
you.
everybody.
Good morning.
The current production copier lease with Brightco USA is set to expire at the end of the month of November 2025. In preparation for renewal, staff reviewed options available under the State of Rhode Island Master Price Agreement for production copiers. Only 2 vendors were listed under the MPA, the Brightco USA and Visual Edge Incorporated, doing business as Axion Business Technologies. Our ITBA staff reached out to Axion twice to request pricing and equipment information, but did not receive a response. Brightco USA, our current vendor, provided a quote for new production copier under the state MPA terms. The proposed new lease reflects a monthly increase of only $6 compared to the current agreement we are enrolled in, and the service agreement covers 100% of all parts, labors, drum, toners, staples, delivery, and setup. Brightco USA has provided reliable service and responsive support throughout the current lease period. The proposed renewal ensures equipment continuity and minimal disruption to our operations. Given the lack of response from Visual Edge Incorporated, otherwise known as Axion, the minimal price increase, our ITBA staff recommends proceeding with the Brightco USA for the new 60-month term lease.
Any questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept? Motion and award. Motion by Peter, second by Charles and Karen. Discussion. Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Next is information technology infrastructure purchase.
Yep, that's me. Repta's current Cisco core routers are reaching end of life in the first quarter of 2026. Once this occurs, the maintenance services, patches, and updates will no longer be available. To ensure system security and optimal performance, Ripta needs to upgrade the Cisco routers in the Jamestown data center to the latest hardware offering. This Cisco hardware manages all the core communications for Ripta's back office, roadside, and connected site locations. Ripta must stay with Cisco hardware to ensure interoperability and security with existing systems. This equipment is available through a State of Rhode Island Master Price Agreement, and the lowest cost vendor is CBTS Technology Solutions, LLC. The total cost of the equipment is $113,299.09, and the 2026 capital budget has the funds available for this upgrade. Repta staff recommends approval of the purchase order of this equipment in the amount of $113,299.09.
Thank you, Jeff. Questions? Peter?
How long is this good for? Until it becomes obsolete, or?
Yes, until it falls out of its maintenance. So we no longer can get maintenance on the current hardware.
Gotcha.
So it requires us to purchase new hardware.
But you said 5 years?
Is it about right, Remy, about 5 years?
Yeah, okay.
And this does have a 3-year maintenance within this, correct?
Very good. Good.
Further questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the purchase of the equipment for $118,299.09? Motion by Charles, seconded by Karen. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Next, owners representative services for Mount Hope Bridge deck proposals.
I'll take that one.
Yes, sir.
At the August 2025 RIPTA Board of Directors meeting, the concept of hiring a qualified on-call technical consultant to assist RIPTA staff with proposal scoring and consultant selection excuse me, for the Mount Hope Bridge deck replacement and rehabilitation was discussed. There was a consensus with the concept, noting that the consultant would act in an advisory capacity and not as a voting member of the selection committee. RIPTA staff met with Michael Baker International, one of our qualified on-call technical consultant firms, who did not submit a proposal for the Mount Hope Bridge deck. MBI expressed interest in participating with RIPTA in the selection process and prepared the attached proposal in the amount not to exceed $58,792 for services. Services under this task order will include project management, design review, project procurement support, and administration services. RIPA staff reviewed the proposal and found it reasonable for the scope of work outlined. I'd like to mention, this Mount Hope Bridge deck, even though it says Mount Hope Bridge deck replacement, the study will include if there's any rehabilitation options that are feasible and would include discussion on potential costs and pros and cons. So it's not, quite frankly, I think we're gonna end up at deck replacement. That's just where I think it's gonna end up, but we have to look at rehabilitation options as part of this effort.
Okay.
Just to have that information available. RIPA staff recommends approval to execute a task order fee with MBI in the amount not to exceed $58,792.
Thank you. Aaron, questions?
No, comment, I appreciate that extra explanation there, Eric, because I think that we don't really know 100% exactly how that's going to go, and that's what this study is intended to do, is to sort out all the options and give us the best value for the investment. So I think
That's
this
right. And the information that will eventually come out of this study will be what we'll take as information towards applying for federal grant money, for example, for the deck work in the future.
How long will the study take?
I think it'll probably take a process of between a year and a half to get through the whole study process.
Really?
It's going to be an in-depth analysis of what can be done. A lot of the work that will take time is figuring out how will we do this. Because no matter what we do on that bridge, being a two-lane bridge, we know the traffic difficulties. We can't have what happened in 1985 happen. We're not going to close the bridge for 10 months. It will be an option that will be discussed because it is an option, but I don't see it going that direction today. They did it in 85, but I don't see that happening today. So we're going to look at alternative construction technology methods, and that stuff will take a lot of time to investigate. We want to make sure we do this thoroughly, and then have some real good information that we can take and hopefully look for federal money to support this project, because it's going to be, no matter what we do on that project, it's going to be a big project, so be costly.
Well, we just saw that bridge in Baltimore is going to cost double of what it was
5.2
originally.
billion.
More than double, yeah, they went from 1.9 million to
5.2
somewhere
billion.
between 4.7 and 5.2.
Yeah.
And they extended the schedule by two more years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Other than that, going good.
Which, I was gonna talk about that later, but now that you brought up that topic, it speaks to why our bids came in so high on Mount Hope Bridge reunification. It's all of the cost escalators on materials, labor, tariffs, you name it.
That's what you had said earlier.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure.
We have a motion.
Motion.
Motion seconded by Karen and Charles. Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is the Newport Pell Bridge Pier 10E bearing replacement.
Okay, that one as well. Thank you. Jacobs performed the current routine inspection, the most current routine inspection of the Newport Pell Bridge approach span. During a debrief of the inspection results with RIPA staff, Jacobs identified a condition of concern at Pier 10E. The two rocket bearings, this sounds familiar, right, to Pier 5W. The two rocket bearings supporting the expansion end of the adjacent plate girder span were measured and exhibited excessive tilt movement. Pack rust has built up between the rocket surfaces and the bearing pads of two of the bearings. There are pins to keep the bearings from sliding, but sometimes they can move out of proper alignment. A chart comparing tilt measurement included in each routine inspection identified a slope progression in the movement of the rocket bearings. RIPA discussed this condition with WSB, as you know, one of our on-call consultants who also assisted us with replacing the rocket bearings on Pier 5W with disc type bearings because of a similar condition. RIPA staff and WSP determined that replacement of the rocket bearings to updated disc bearings on Pier 10E would be the best solution. RIPA requested WSP to submit a proposal for design and construction support services for Pier 10E bearing replacement because of their experience with the Pier 5W replacement project. WSP submitted a proposal in the amount not to exceed $190,936 for design and construction support services. We reviewed this and found it reasonable for the scope of work outlined and recommend approval to execute a task order and fee with WSP in the amount not to exceed $190,936. And I'd like to mention that in that task order, there's some money in here that are allowances for work that could be performed on other elements that are within that finger joint location. We think that it's probably only the rocker bearings causing a misalignment of the finger joint at the top, but if there was other things discovered during their investigation, they've included some money in here only as an allowance as needed if there are some other things that need to be worked on. So there could be a piece of this task order that doesn't even get used at all, ideally, so.
Okay. Thank you, Eric. Questions? No? Do I have a motion to award the contract for $190,930, not to exceed $190,936? Motion by Karen, second by Charles and Peter. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Okay. Next, capital project status report.
I'll take that as well. Mount Hope Bridge dehumidification, we continue working through shop drawings. The contractor is still planning on starting to erect scaffolding on the cables in January. We do not have a start date. Once we have a start date, a firm start date, they'll let us know with plenty enough time so that we can get some public outreach out to prepare people for the start of that work. They still anticipate actual construction work sometime in March when they have enough scaffolding up to actually start their construction. The infra program management for the dehumidification of Pell, the deck rehab, and the tower steel repairs is going along nicely. HDR just held a value engineering exercise, which is required by the federal grant. 2 weeks ago, it was a 3-day exercise that we held here in this room. We had people that attended via Teams. We had some people that came in person. It involved bringing in all 3 design consultants in the beginning, explaining their parts of the project to independent review folks that were brought in from HDR that have nothing to do with the project. They were from other areas of the country. They were all expert specialists in these topics of repair. They explained all the projects. The design consultants then went away, and then we sat in the room as the owners to be here for support for the group. And the group went through exercises that were pretty rigorous. It was all-day exercise for 3 days straight, very full agenda. And they basically came up with ideas on how to either save money. Sometimes it involved spending more money. Sometimes it involved taking certain parts of the project and changing it into other things, maybe combining projects. We're waiting for a draft report, but what came out of it are some good ideas. It was a good exercise. I mentioned before that we had already started to look at combining the deck project and the tower project into one large contract so that we have only one contractor on the bridge. We're still moving forward with that. That did come out of the value engineering exercise as a good recommendation. Another thing that I can tell you that has come out of it is the realization that we will probably not be able to afford dehumidifying the bridge under this grant, under the budget, because of the escalation of all the costs that have happened since. So what we're starting to do is get some better numbers on the dehumidification from AECom, but we think that there's gonna, even if we don't dehumidify, we think there are elements that are in the dehumidification project that we could build and fit it into the budget now, and then forego the actual dehumidification system itself. Things like building a stair tower access at each of the anchorages we might be able to put into the bid under the deck and tower repair. Fixing some of the steel ladders inside the anchorages, fixing a lot of the hatch access to the anchorages. These are all projects that still have to get done. And we could get these done early and utilize grant money to do it now, and then forego the dehumidification until we can get some more federal money to build that system. We have the ability to do that because...
Would that affect the integrity of the bridge by not doing it?
No, it would not, because we have more time on this bridge than Mount Hope Bridge. Another element that AECom would recommend putting into this other contract now is doing another detailed investigation of the cable now in this contract, so that we can set a new benchmark for the cable and know exactly where we are because we can then take that information and then the new numbers for the dehumidification costs and chase some federal dollars using that information. We'll have a new benchmark because the last time the cable was investigated was 2015. So we're approaching the 10-year mark, which is actually a good time to do a new investigation as well.
And based on your experience, how much more would it cost to do the dehumidification if it's delayed by By how long?
So right now, the 2025 rough estimate of dehumidification is about 75 million. So you would have to escalate that, you know, let's say we pushed it out 5 years, you'd have to escalate it for 5 years. So you may end up in $80-something million range by that time, depending on the escalators.
And for the record, you feel that the integrity of the bridge would not be affected?
That's right. AECom has said the same. They have concurred that delaying it 5 years would not be a problem on this bridge. And that's why they're recommending we would do, as part of this contract, an investigation of the cable, open up, I think they were proposing to open up 12 panel points along the cable, various locations. And now we've got a new benchmark, we've got a new report on the current state of the cable, and that will give us the confidence that we can push this project out a little ways until we can get some funding for it.
Approximately 5 years.
Possibly 5 years, yeah. And that's that would be an approximate number at this point. Obviously, we'd be looking for federal money and try to do it as soon as we could, really, but by the time you apply for federal grants and go through the federal grant process, it's definitely a multi-year process as it is. So, we're just using 5 years as kind of a
Benchmark.
holding point, And as we're in the process of getting a task order together from a consultant to help us redo our capital plan, and I'll be bringing that to a future board meeting. But this would be plugged into the capital plan, appropriately, like at a 5-year place, and then we do the plan of finance around that. So,
Okay.
so
Thank
that
you.
was another thing that came out of the value engineering exercise, and there'll be some other things, and I can report on them once we get a report in hand. The deck design project progresses. We're expecting a 90% design submission in December. Same with the tower painting and steel repairs, that they were kind of along the same schedule track now for a 90% submission in December. I spoke about dehumidification. We would continue to design the dehumidification system all the way to 100% design, and it would basically make it shovel ready, so that if we were to secure a grant, it could position us in a good place to start construction very quickly. We could go right out and bid, we could freshen it up, even if it was 5 years out, you can just freshen up that design and then just put it right out on the street and go to bid. So we'll continue to finish the design. The steel repairs and joint replacement construction for Fishing Pier Access Bridge finished for the season last night. They are off of the roadway. It's not completely finished. The roadway work is finished. They will be working underneath the bridge, continuing on in the winter months doing steel repairs, and it'll be invisible to everybody. You won't even see that that's going on. They'll be back out in the spring to do the westbound side, Fishing Pier Access Road Bridge, and start doing all of the Jamestown Bridge joints. HVAC construction, they've put the HVAC units in place. They've been hooking up the plumbing and the electrical hookups. We're just waiting on the controls subcontractor will be coming in next to start hooking up all of the controls and start doing the balancing of the whole system throughout the building. Vessel strike vulnerability assessment, we've had a couple of meetings to discuss the draft report that we have. We're working through some comments from that. We had the most recent meeting yesterday with the Northeast Pilots Association on the call, and basically are addressing all of their comments, and the consultant is working up, getting all those comments incorporated into the draft right now.
And if I could just add to that, yesterday was also the hearing before the NTSB on looking into the causes of the vessel strike at the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Maryland. I expect that today we'll see a lot of articles summarizing the findings from that, but there was quite a bit of discussion about the vulnerability assessments that have been asked of bridges across the country. So we'll be looking at that, and I will be meeting later this week to discuss with the president of the Marine Pilots Association the takeaways from the Francis Scott Key hearing for us, for our study.
Thank you.
Bridge inspections, real quick. Mount Hope Bridge routine is closed out now. Jamestown Bridge routine, we get the final report. We're closing that one out now. The new Newport routine inspections are ongoing right now. We have Tane as the new inspector out there. You've approved that contract, and they're out there just starting their inspections. They've been doing them for a few weeks now. Mount Hope Bridge routine underwater the inspection is complete. We're waiting for the report on it, and that's about it. Unless anybody has any other questions.
I'd like to see that, the Scour report on the Mount Hope when you get it.
Sure.
Any other questions? Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
Jeff, you're up.
All right, I'll be quick. The first quarter of fiscal year 2026 was solid when compared to budget. Traffic was higher by 2% and total revenue was higher by $1.4 million or 11%. The primary driver of the higher revenue is due to higher average toll revenue per vehicle of $2.92 versus a budget of $2.57. Operating expenses were lower by $531,000 or 13%, primarily due to lower personnel expenses as a result of open positions in maintenance and customer service, lower postage expenses that are primarily timing related, and the timing of bridge inspections. Overall net income was up $3.5 million, as our investment income was up nearly $1.6 million. The majority of our cash is highly liquid in money markets and government securities. With respect to prior year, overall compared to prior year, traffic was higher by 3% and total revenue was higher by $101,000 or 1%. Higher ETC revenue, bill by mail revenue, and transponder revenue was partially offset by lower violation fees. Operating expenses were higher by $398,000 or 13%, primarily due to higher personnel expenses as a result of compensation increases and the 14.3% increase in health insurance premiums. I just did want to make a note that we are going through our renewal for our health, dental, and vision as of January 1, and right now that we're expecting a 15% increase. So 14.3% last year and a 15% increase this year. Utilities are higher due to higher telephone volume to customer service agents. Contractual services were higher due to increased DMV lookup volume and increases in the costs associated with the Rhode Island State Police contract. Investment income was lower than prior year as a result of the Fed rates have declined, and depreciation is lower due to accelerating the depreciation on the gantry and toll booth assets once that project was completed last year. And I'll take any questions that you may have. Yes?
Do we use the trust for health and dental?
I'm
Do
sorry?
we use the trust for health and dental?
The trust?
Yeah, the interlocal trust?
No, I'm not even familiar.
No.
They serve municipal.
We don't-
They serve
we're
municipal.
eligible.
Okay.
Yeah, they serve, their charter is municipal.
Have you looked into being self-insured?
We have not.
You should.
What's the employee count?
What's that?
What's the contract count like?
50.
50. So do they rate you small or large?
The thing is, we're in the small plan.
Yeah, so
So
you
we
get
don't know what
community
the...
rated exclusively.
Yeah, we don't know what the amount of claims are because we can't get that information. The way our program is set up, and we're looking to potentially change that. But right now, the deductible comes at the end. So in essence, for myself, let's say it's $4,000. And then there's $1,000, that's not the exact number, but then there's $1,000 deductible. That deductible comes at the end instead of the beginning, which is not necessarily the norm. And what that can sometimes lead to is people just, using it, and then there's no skin in the game for them, really. So we're looking to kind of see what is the best practice out there.
Yeah, I would shop around.
We do. We looked at going into the large plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's much more expensive. We also looked at United Health. They're more expensive. And I think the other one was either Tufts or...
Aetna's hitting the market really hard.
Yeah, but the problem is they don't know, they can't get what our claims are.
Because you're rated small currently.
Yes,
You need
so-
to make the transition with the idea that it'll give you better shopping next year. almost.
And you can kind of tell because Blue Cross is rating that plan much more expensive. So that tells me that our claims are pretty
How
high.
many employees are in?
Well, we have about 50, I think it's 52 currently we have.
It's small to be
Yeah.
self-insured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The nice thing about being included in a small plan is that the company can't take claims experience into consideration in setting your rates. They can't hold it against you, in other words.
Yeah.
And at least in the past, that has benefited us. Going forward, I'm not so sure. I mean,
Yeah, in
in the
20,
days when we had toll collectors and maybe an older workforce, that worked very well for us.
Right.
Not an older workforce too.
yeah, in
Yeah.
2022, our actual premium came down by like 1%. So over the time period, it's not that, the last 2 years have
Do you
been,
bring anyone in to speak to the employees about
Wellness and,
everything?
Well,
I mean, like an HSA, have you brought anyone, have you explained about the health savings account?
The HRA program?
Yeah, I mean, that's a triple win for.
Yeah, so it is pretty uncommon the way that we have our system going right now, where we have the HRA program, which kicks in first, which leaves
Well-
the employee's responsibility and their deductible at the end. So most, especially quasi-state agencies, have that
Well,
thought.
they have a health savings account that they can, and it's right? And I believe, you're an accountant, aren't you?
we don't have an HSA.
No, but they can do it themselves. I mean, you should bring someone in to speak to them I mean, Blue Cross will come in, right? I mean.
Yeah, we have Gallagher, who we can bring in.
Bring in your agent, yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
I know we've, in my past life, we've had HSAs. They've been very difficult to eliminate unless the company puts in some seed funding. Because you gotta make it worthwhile for them to transition to an HSA, and they could be at risk.
So it's a triple, I mean, the tax benefits are incredible.
It's something we will look at along with kind of flipping around how our plan works.
how detailed is the bargaining agreement on? the
What's
plan?
that?
How detailed is the CBA?
It's very detailed.
Yeah.
And it's up July 1st.
Oh,
So we'll be going into union
Interesting.
negotiations in the months ahead.
okay. Yeah.
All right, just
Fair enough. Yep, thank you.
that's all.
Yep.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, customer service, well, the news here on customer service I want to address, first of all, is that Katie isn't here. Katie actually has tendered her resignation. She is going to be leaving us December 5th. That's the end of a week when we have lots planned for transition, and we have Emovis and our consultants for the back office system and our lane side system all here for the entire week. So we will be working with Katie to make certain that we transition. I expect that we will be relying on our consultants maybe a little bit more as we make this transition for Katie. She is taking a step back from the workforce for a period of time to focus on her health. So we wish her well, and she's been here actually since 2012 full-time, and I believe before that she was an intern here since 2007, so she has certainly put in a lot of time with the Rhode Island Turnpike and Bridge Authority. So, but for quite some time now, we have been focused on the fact that we need to do some succession planning, that we need to have some depth in, especially in the tolling operations department. So we did some time ago look to have redundancy, or at least, as I say, more depth in the tolling operations and the Easy Pass. There's an extensive set of business rules that have to be mastered for us to effectively work in that system. So we did post and fill the position of tolling operations specialist, expecting that that person would work with Katie and our consultants and others. That the position was filled by Michelle Donatelli. I asked her to come in this morning so that you could all say hello. Michelle's off and running and learning the system. Jamie is down there and knows. Jamie works alongside Katie as well. Katie estimates that Jamie has about 75% of the knowledge. As I say, the big challenge. There's lots of challenges. One of the challenges is the Easy Pass system, which expands really monthly. I mean, we have new members coming in, We operate pursuant to a set of business rules. We operate pursuant to interoperability and reciprocity and all kinds of things, and there are acronyms, and you need a big bottle of your favorite painkiller, whether it's Tylenol or Advil, next to you as you try to learn this stuff. So we have some big plans for starting to train Michelle using the other EasyPass agencies and our consultants and Jamie, of course. And we think we'll be, and Katie, I'm certain, we know where Katie lives. So I'm certain that Katie, will be helpful to us as we make this transition. So I'm very optimistic. So I've mentioned that the consultants will be here with Emovis. As you know, Emovis is both our lane side and our back office provider. They will be here for the week of December 1st through 5th. All day, every day, all things lane side and back office, which we expect to make a lot of progress then. Other than that, the only thing I would mention is that I hate to say but we were heading absolutely in the right direction in terms of handling our customer service challenges. And then we saw, just in the recent month or so, we saw quite an increase in volume of invoices that went out to our customers, which of course generated more phone calls, more visits to the walk-in center, more checks in the mail to process, more interaction on the internet, on our website. So all of those things caused us to pause and say we were heading in one direction. We identified the cause of that. We responded to the cause of that. We think now that Jamie's smiling, we always say today, are we holding hands today? Are we all holding hands today? So we, in the past couple of days, we certainly have started to see the volume go down, but we're managing it, and we know, as I say, we know the root cause. The root cause was that an unusually high number of invoices went out at one time, so now that we know that, that won't happen again. So we will. We're on the right track. The Infra and Protect grants, Eric has already spoken to them. The good news for us is that the shutdown is over. So we have started to hear from some of the federal agencies that we deal with. One of our governmental specialists has advised that we just be aware that the shutdown was maybe concluded. However, there may be another shutdown. And so the advice was to get whatever we can do with the agencies that we deal with, get it done now before the possibility of another shutdown in January. And other than that, we have the next board meeting, December 10th, 2025.
Thank you, Laurie.
Thank you.
Questions?
Just a comment, I just want to recognize Jamie because I brought kind of an unusual circumstance to her with someone who had come to me for a problem with, it ended up being a stolen plate, but anyway, she was very helpful, so I just want to point that out.
Always. She always is.
It's not the first time, so thank you.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
Further comments, questions? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn?
Chairman,
Executive session.
We're so close. We're so close.
I tried, Peter. You asked. Okay. Pursuant to pertaining litigation matter pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5, A2, one non-public potential litigation matter related to back office implementation. Do I have a motion to go into executive session? Motion by Peter, seconded by Charles.
That's a roll call vote, Chairman?
Yeah.
Charles?